Geek
until what
Squad.
happens. So Ryan,
It's 7 minutes after 7, and we were having our conversation prior to the show. That was Michael you were listening to. And my name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah. If you're tuned in, at this time on Tuesdays, I host a show on this radio station called Joy Geek Squad. And we talk tech. And today, we're talking about Spotify. I mean,
okay.
you probably heard. If you didn't hear, well, Spotify launched in Ghana. So, all of you that have been using VPNs and trying to fool the system to thinking you're in a different country so you could have access to Spotify and listen to music, stream music, music that you don't have on your phone or you can't buy, you can stream for free. Spotify is here now. Well, so we had a conversation with the head of tech of Spotify. She's called Fiona Okumu, and we, asked some questions about why Spotify took so long to come to Ghana, and a few questions before we have the full conversation on here. I'd like you to listen to that interview, and we'll be
Welcome,
back.
Spotify. Welcome, Fiona. Welcome, all of you to Ghana. We've been
Thanks
waiting.
for having us.
And, well, I'd like to ask, first of all, since you're coming into Ghana at this time, does it mean that you have any special plans for us? Anything that actually triggered you to come to Ghana?
Um, well, it's not a trigger. It's more like a very, very plausible cause.
Hmm.
Ghana is one of the richest musical producers in the world. We know the rich history of everything from high life until everything that we're doing with, Afro drill. The music is undeniable. You've seen the rise and rise of Afro beats in the last 10, 15 years. And so it is absolutely a no-brainer for us to come to Ghana. And for us, it is definitely one of our key focus markets. We launched, when was it? Day before yesterday, we went live. And it's already looking like it's going to be an incredible ride. We've had the opportunity, even before we went live, to start engaging with the artists over here. Amare, who I mentioned earlier, is someone that we have championed from the beginning. Like 2 weeks ago, she was on a billboard in New York, and that was even before us being live. So that just says a lot about how much we believe in the music that's coming out of here, and we want to make sure that we are part of telling the right story about the music from Ghana.
Great. So, with that being said, will we have access to every single Spotify feature like everyone else does?
Absolutely everything. We're talking 70 million songs, 4 billion playlists. There are 2.2 million podcast titles. So good luck trying to choose. Like, you literally going to be spoiled for choice. But that's definitely something that we are looking forward to, just sharing the wealth of content and curating it down to a perfect science. As I've mentioned before, we have an amazing local team. We're making sure to localize the content, but also making sure to personalize it, which is a different thing from just purely localizing it. Making sure that the audience who are quite international in how they listen to music can listen to the latest Roddy Rich and the latest Georgia Smith and also King Promise and that. So that for us is very important. Personalizing the music and making sure that discovery is top of mind.
Great. So, you mentioned having a local team. Does that mean you'd have a local office?
Um, I mean, not necessarily. I think that, and I don't know if you know this, but Spotify has recently announced what we call distributed working, which kind of gives us, the staff at Spotify, to be able to choose where we want to be, balance work and life, and also, work around the complications of COVID, etc. So it's not a must that we would have a office in a specific territory, but what is the most important thing is that the expertise will always, always be local. And that's what we're focusing on.
Right. And so, based on the reason why I was asking this is that if you're making most of your money for the free service via ads, and local companies would like to advertise
Hmm.
on Spotify, how would
Yeah.
they reach out? Spotify?
Yeah. So we have a partner. We've had a partner in place ever since we've been in South Africa. Ad Dynamo is our advertising partner, and they create localized advertising solutions for all of our partners. So that's, again, like I said, the expertise is local, even though we could be absolutely anywhere in the world as this new normal predicts.
Right. So another thing for Spotify users in Ghana, most of which do not have credit cards to make payments online. Most of us rely on our local form of payment called mobile money. Is there any plan to include this in Spotify Premium if someone wants to make such a payment?
I believe that we are constantly revisiting all of payment methods. We've had a great success, for example, in Kenya, where we have managed to incorporate M-Pesa. And as time goes on, hopefully sooner than later, we're going to be able to do different things. I know, for example, even in Tanzania, you can pay with PayPal, believe it or not. So we are making sure to finesse and to refine all of the solutions to make the user experience as seamless as possible. So definitely localizing that aspect of the experience is part of the plan, yes.
Great. And I've got like three questions. I'll be done in a bit. So our creators, Philip was mentioning how our royalty collection and everything in Ghana is a bit, not encouraging. So there are a lot of independent artists out there who'd like to submit to Spotify. How would they be getting revenue if they don't go through a label, for instance?
Yes, right. And so again, I'll give you the same answer that I gave your colleague earlier, Philip. The thing is, we are one part of the industry, okay? We don't, we're not the distributors of royal, there's definitely different solutions for different partners. Major labels play a great role in this. Independents, which, as you know, are the majority of our creator community in Africa, they they have a different kind of stake in the game. But what I mentioned earlier is that we are going to be focusing on a lot of education for the community that we're working with. And we're working with all of the different rights collection societies, whether it's SAMRO, whether it's IFPI, all of the ones, CAPASO, all of them are partners of ours. So our one of our priorities, just to make sure that all of those things are in place. We have a program called Notable, which we'll be able to expand on a little bit later down the line. But that program is very specifically focused on songwriter relations. And I believe this is where we'll be able to drive the very, very tangible education about publishing and rights and all of these kinds of things. So very aware that this is a sticky situation, but I'm also very, very confident that this is one of, like many other things that we've had hurdles with in Africa, we'll be able to surmount with good partnerships in place.
Great, great. That answers my next question. So I'll just jump to my last one. So, what are your plans for Anchor? Because I know a lot of podcasters, new ones, didn't know about Anchor. They only knew about Spotify till I told them about Anchor. So, are you planning to merge it into Spotify so those who already only know about Spotify and don't know about Anchor wouldn't have to sort of be confused between the two?
Um, Let me defer this to Nuran. What I can say is that Anchor and Spotify for podcasters have enabled access to easier creation of podcasts. That's what they do. Um, and Anchor actually it accounts for 80% of the new shows on Spotify in 2020. Okay, so to truly build the future of audio, we want to give everyone the ability to take their creativity further, even beyond what the existing concept of a podcast is, and to make audio experiences that have never been before possible. Okay, so there are very many exciting formats that are in place, but just in terms of Anchor as a platform, Nuran, do you want to be able to send him a little bit of literature about that?
Yeah, for sure. And
Mm-hmm.
we've acquired Anchor actually. I think it
Mm-hmm.
was maybe 2 years ago, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've acquired Anchor, and I'm happy to send you more information about that.
Mhm.
Sure, we'll be glad.
And I know it feels like it's a little bit delayed, but actually what it is it's a considered move. You know, launching in a continent, not even a country, a continent as diverse as this one, you know, the amount of countries, the amount of languages, the different cultures that we have, I don't feel is it would be right for us to rush into a situation. What we always wanted to do at Spotify is when we land in a space is we want to make sure that we land correctly, and that means doing the right things, the due diligence. It means making sure that we are doing everything legally correct. It means that we are signing the right contracts with the the label partners and all other legal considerations. And it's also, most especially for me, is making sure that we have the right team in place, and and making sure that there's a good fit of a localized team that understands how to tell the story internally or within the country, and also to tell the story to the rest of the world. So those are the things that have made us seem like we are late to the party, but actually what we are, I believe we are right on time. This is the right time for us to go. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but we have two tiers on Spotify. We have a free tier which is supported by advertising, and then we have a premium tier which is supported by subscription. What that means is that we have a pool of money that goes into the platform so that we make sure that the creators, as per negotiation with labels, with artists, they get their fair share. I would let you know that since 2008, which is when Spotify first ever went live, we've paid about 21 billion euros in royalties to rights owners. So for us, it is extremely important that rights owners are compensated fairly, and that's always been top of our agenda. And we always make sure that those negotiations are fair, but we absolutely prioritize where the labels are coming from, where the artists are coming from, and that's how we do it. We make sure that whatever income is coming in, it's a pool that's shared in the ecosystem. So again, I like to mention the word ecosystem because it really does take a village. Spotify, we are entering this market not by ourselves. We're entering with the cosign of the labels. We're entering with the cosign of the artists. And I believe that it is all of our job, all of our business as an industry, to emphasize education of the creator community, to understand exactly how things like copyright and publishing and all of those things work. We do have programs that deal with songwriter relations and all of these kinds of things. Those are things that we're going to be rolling out from possibly the middle of this year onwards and outwards. So that's something that's also very close to my heart. And the other thing that we try to address in our education is making sure that piracy, which is one of the main reasons, one of the other reasons why we don't see the right compensation for artists and so on, we want to make sure that that is completely stumped out of the equation. I know that this has been something almost habitual with our society, and as Africans, we haven't been that amazing at valuing music, but I think that times are changing and we're starting to see, like really see music as one of the most important exports for us, and also just something, it's something we can't live without. So why would we not want to give it the monetary value that it deserves? Again, like I said, piracy is not, it's not a new problem. It's something that we're walking into that's decades and decades old. And again, I stress the fact that education is definitely, it's the only way. And you know who we really rely on to really drive this message home is the artist community. And I'll give you an example. We in South Africa have started to really work with the Amapiano. I don't know if you've heard of this music, the Amapiano community. And Amapiano is the fastest growing music in South Africa right now. But when we first started to engage with that community, it was purely like music that was exchanged on from one WhatsApp to another. And what we have tried to do is, in engaging with the artists who we believe are the thought leaders of that community, we have said to them, make sure you let the fans know Don't go to the sites that are telling you download this for free or this is a free song. Make sure you're encouraging them to come to Spotify because they believe in everything. The artists, I believe, are the biggest influencers in music. So they can help us direct people to where, because people care about the artist before they care about anything, right? You've seen it before on platforms, whether it's Wizkid FC versus Davido's 30 RBG or whatever the case might be. They have the power in their hands to direct the fans, to let them know that this is something that hurts us and here's how you can help us. And we're starting to see those results. We're starting to see streaming numbers for Amapiano artists just shoot through the roof, where a year ago that wasn't the case. So I'm very hopeful that we can make this work. So you're very right. I mean, data costs across the continent compared to maybe the West or the rest of the world, they tend to be, fairly steep in certain places. But what we have at Spotify is we have a product called Spotify Lite, which is much lighter. It's pretty much exactly the same Spotify experience, same amazing thing. So all the music, all the podcasts, everything that you know and love about Spotify. But this particular product is almost it gives you that all of that experience without the high data requirements. And I expect that that's the thing that's going to really take off over here. Telcos, of course, they're always going to be one of many partners that we are going to be engaging with throughout our journey in Africa. And we're here to learn with everybody that wants to build this music industry. But as a solution, Spotify Lite is something that we introduced. It's working fantastically in South Africa, and in many other markets, which, believe it or not, there are several other markets in the world that resemble us in this regard in terms of data. So we're hopeful in that regard. What I can say for sure is that we are determined to be the best audio company there ever was in the world. And that means making sure that, whether it's music or whether it's podcast, we want to make sure that, first of all everything possible is available. And secondly, we're making sure that we are engaging with all of the creators, whether it is the artists or whether, like yourself, podcast creators. We're going to be prioritizing podcasts. There's no secret that there is a big boom in this area, and we're excited to be part of this conversation. And I would pretty much say we're market leaders in terms of just being the leading audio experience in terms of streaming. So certainly there's going to be a heavy focus on podcasting in due time. Of course, I mean, again, our approach to the creator community, those are our primary collaborators. And we know that they engage in many different platforms. So it would be remiss of us to think that we would be a silo in this game. We absolutely have those plans. We prefer to reveal them as they come to life. So I would say to you, watch this space, but certainly partnership is a big part of how Spotify engages its audience. And like I said earlier, we are here to learn as much as we are to teach, and we're here to grow with the community that is going to grow with us. So we're looking forward to partnerships on every level, whether it is artists to Spotify or brands and Spotify or media and Spotify. We need everybody to make this thing grow. So for sure, that's going to be happening. I would say not only are we the biggest, but we are working on being the best. Okay. What that means is that, for example, we have the most intuitive platform that there is, and I could test that against any platform right now. We have a saying at Spotify which goes, we have 345 million versions of Spotify. And what that means is that every active user on Spotify uses it differently. Spotify will listen to what you like and customize the experience so specifically so that at the end of the day, you and your sister who are both listening to Spotify, you're probably not listening to the same thing. And that's what makes us such an incredible, incredible platform. Our AI, combined with, of course, the knowledge that our editorial has, what we have are localized teams. teams that are actually from wherever it is that we are hoping to find success. We're finding the perfect sweet spot between what is an algorithm playlist and what is an editorial playlist. So an algorithm playlist will be something like a daily mix, for example. When the machine learning figures out, okay, these are kinds of songs you like, so I'm going to give these to you on a daily basis. And then there's, the more editorialized ones, which is like the African Heat playlist, which is like, okay, here are the big hits. You probably like this. And we are experimenting and testing different ways so that we can combine the two very powerful and very important ways of curating music to make sure that the user experience is the best. And that's how we're going to win the game. We're going to have a much more diversified landscape, right? What streaming does is it not only helps the user to be able to surface the music. If you understand that there are almost 40,000 songs being uploaded on Spotify every day, right? How am I going to find the song that I love the most? What I mentioned earlier in terms of the algorithm and the editorial, that's one of the things, okay? So that means that the user that is in Africa is going to discover more music, more African music and more international music. That already for me is a win because that means that now music is borderless. And that's a much more intuitive way of the way young people especially listen to music. They don't really care, or they do, but it's not a deal breaker that the music must only be from here. It's about how personal it feels to them. And you know, if it's Burna Boy today and if it's Travis Scott tomorrow, it's all a seamless experience. So I believe that that's one of the ways that we're going to. And then the other thing is, of course, our artists are going to get a more fairer shake at the stick in terms of international stardom. Because guess what? What we are doing here is the same thing that the listener in Brazil and the listener in Mexico and the listener in the US is doing. They are discovering music. Discovery is the thing that has been the fuel for our engine from the beginning. And that's going to continue to help us create the most personalized experience. It's going to help people cross borders where they wouldn't have before. If you can remember the days where we were distributing CDs and whatever. I'll give you an example. Amare, right? I was on her Instagram yesterday, and you know who was commenting about her new songs? It was SZA, international artist SZA, and Victoria Monet, and all the big R&B. And that would have never happened in the days of physical. But now with this, discovery is just becoming, it's literally at the press of a button. So I'm hoping to see a much bigger business, like bigger audiences, more nuanced audiences, and much more personalized experiences.
So that was Fiona Okumu. She's the head of tech for Spotify, telling us all about Spotify's entry into the Ghanaian market. And we're going to have our conversation here, dissect everything that's been said by Spotify to see if really it would benefit us, if really it would benefit the users and the creators, and should we expect all the promises that were made by Fiona. To have this conversation with me, the usual, Michael.
Hello.
Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Yeah, you're here because you've used almost every streaming platform, and yeah, I'll be relying on you to give me your opinion about the experience, the user experience.
As always.
Great.
Zero loyalty.
And then I have two industry gurus. When I say industry gurus, like music industry gurus, Seven and Kofi. Kofi B. Ansa, aka I am Beat Menace. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You see, when I say music gurus, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, how come I've never heard of these guys?
You're thinking too small.
Yeah, because these guys, they don't do music on the fore, they do music on the back, and they have ample knowledge on how distribution and royalties and all that stuff works. Something that has been trending on Twitter for a
Ooh.
couple of days now.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, but that'll be a
time
conversation
online.
for another day. So first off, let me go straight to you, Michael. As a consumer, everything Spotify's promising, you've used most of these
Hmm.
streaming platforms. Do they match up? Does
They
it meet your expectations?
they do. I mean, even forget me. If you just take a quick look online, when it was announced, there was a flurry of excitement
Mm-hmm.
on the internet, and even the past terms going around where, oh, now you don't have to share people's accounts and use VPNs
Right.
anymore. You can now do it yourself. There is an active interest. People would be interested because, for all intents and purposes, they are good at what they do.
Mm.
They provide music that you're interested in on a regular basis
Mm-hmm.
based on how their systems work. But it works. That is a crucial thing. It works, and people are interested and excited for it to finally come here. So now that we don't have to go and ask for someone's VPN and some, can you add me to your family and friends? And like, you don't need to do all that. You can now pay for it yourself if your
Mm-hmm.
bank will allow you, as is the way with these things. And then you have access to all of this with literally no headaches, except when your data runs out, which it will.
But then they mentioned that they have a Spotify Lite for those who are worried about their data, which should essentially provide the same experience but on a lighter budget.
You shall have access to work on my Nokia 3310.
Does it have GPRS?
Yes, ish.
I'm not going to mind you. Okay, but then compared to all the other platforms that you've used, how would you rate them in
Um.
order of,
Oh, jeez.
yeah,
Oh, you really want to put me on the spot with
I
this one?
have put you on the spot.
In order of where they compare
Mm.
with each other. Broadly speaking, Spotify is at the top.
Mm.
Now, I passed through them very quickly because I needed it for a purpose, which was very well related to last week's topic.
Mhm.
Those of you who are international users that have used those services would realize that there is a space for services like, actually, not even services like, for Spotify,
Mm.
Spotify in particular, not services like Spotify in particular. You'll have noticed that, oh, there's a space for that. And how do you populate that space? By using Spotify. And then it then starts, okay, these are the sort of things you like, and then links it to your profile, which then expands your image. That's why I passed through there. But what I was listening to on there is what I generally listen to across my other music streaming platforms. That is SoundCloud, YouTube Music, sometimes Apple Music, or even just simply going through forums and then just saying, oh, what are people talking about in this music entertainment group, and what are they listening to it on? And yes, I did pass with Spotify for a time because I personally am very, very particular about the songs I listen to. Sometimes I won't even listen to an entire album from someone I consider my favorite artist because they don't make something I gel with. So Spotify wouldn't understand that. They're like, well, if you like this artist, you like all of his albums. Like, no, I don't like this particular album. All 26 songs on it are dead to me. But I will never understand that because AI, it's not as if Spotify has a representative assigned to me saying that, oh, what do you think about this? It doesn't do that for good reason. So I passed to it for a time. But those with more open taste, I should say, make use of that. And it works for them. It works very well for them. It works actually better than its rivals.
Mm.
Apple Music doesn't quite compare when it comes to that. Yes, it has some idea of the new artists and soundtracks you may want to listen to, but it's not that good at it. YouTube, YouTube's recommendations. I'm sure those of you who have been on YouTube for a while understand how bad those recommendations can get. So I don't need to delve into there. And then that leaves you with talking to your friends on social media who may not share your musical taste at all. Then it's just stuck in the open. Then where do you go? Back to Spotify. So the fact that it works is quite something. So yes, it is up there. Can I
Well,
give it a ranking? Like, is it better than X, Y, and Z? No. But it is up there. It is worth your time.
mm.
If you are an avid music listener, is always looking for new and interesting things too. Of course, you do have to remember that there's still access to the library, as in for new artists and things to get on the library for you to listen to. It's not always that easy, so you might miss out on some things there. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't pay attention to it.
Well, CNET did put it at the top and called it the best streaming platform of 2021. So I think you might be right there, hitting the nail on the head. Let me come to you, Seven. Do you think we know Spotify's mode of business, the business module, is one, either you're going free where you'll be shown ads, and hopefully our advertisers in Ghana are able to advertise on that platform, or two, you pay for premium and then never get to experience these ads. Do you think Ghanaians would pay?
Well, for $3, $3 to $5 a month,
Hmm. So
some
like
Ghanaians will
15
pay.
to 16 Ghana cedis.
About 17 to
17.
20 something Ghana cities. Yeah, I think some Ghanaians will pay, but not the majority if they can get it for free, because they're probably using most of that money on data anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, data comes first before you can get Spotify. So I'll be looking forward to how many Ghanaians will actually pay, like a million, 2 million
Hmm.
out of the
That's what.
whatever we are now. But please, actually, the artists need you to pay. If anything, the artists should go on the campaign to get people to pay for the service so they can get money, because
Mm.
I doubt they'll be getting the same payouts as other countries where they are paying $10, like 3 times the amount
Mm.
they're actually paying. We are supposed to pay here. So the artists will need to go on a campaign to get people to pay for the service, and hopefully it will turn to payouts to them. So,
Now, you mentioning this, that's a good segue into the part where artists can finally be getting something for their music. We've gone from selling CDs and cassettes to download sites and the rest who've come to serve people for free
GameXGH.com.
to the point where now fans, avid fans, and you can see them on social media how they fight for their artists, are going to get an opportunity to give back to the artists that they love by subscribing, basically. Is it something that's really going to happen to the benefit of the artist?
Beat Menace.
You push that to you, Kofi. So
Hey. That one got me.
GameXGH.com.
Yeah. That's a catch-22, really. You know, because if you pay attention to the business model of most streaming services globally, you'd realize Spotify is currently, or they have been in a hot seat. You know what I mean? COVID-19 even further exposed certain business practices that a lot of creators, felt wasn't working to their best interest. Particularly because in the last 8 months, the company itself has kind of tripled in value. It's worth 64 billion US dollars or something, along that ballpark, which is crazy. So you'd realize that because they are the streaming service with the largest repertoire of works globally, they went public, they had an IPO, and the value on the company was basically as a result of the combined body of works. You know what I mean? And the payouts as a result of the IPO benefits just a few people, and it doesn't trickle down to the creators, which is ironic, especially because of COVID-19, when you have a lot of artists, musicians, and bands who are no longer touring and all that sort of thing. And he did mention, I think Seven did mention, the payouts per streams, which very likely wouldn't equate to what the rest of the world is collecting. So, I mean, in the long run, you have to factor other regional challenges like the high cost of data and things like that. And you realize that eventually some of these issues very likely would affect artists. So it's a catch-22. It's not something I would jubilate over immediately. It's a start. Personally, I believe in not adopting current platforms, but adapting it. You understand? They did mention Spotify Lite. There must be a catch. What are you sacrificing?
quality.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So it's a catch-22, and we need to empower a lot more local players in the same space. Look at even the payment options. I don't know if it's integrated with our local mobile money platforms.
I did
I
ask,
think-
and
yeah,
then
I
they said
think
they're working
they're
on
working
it.
on it,
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But as far as empowering the musicians and artists themselves, I seriously doubt it.
Well-
I mean, there's a general consensus. I mean, on the 15th of this month, right? A lot of music industry players around the world are boycotting it. Like, they want to be heard. They were being probed I think Spotify was being probed in British Parliament from October last year. It's still pending. And it's very likely that if they do not tweak some of their business practices, if it doesn't work in favor of the creators, they'll be kicked out. And that could possibly explain why all of a sudden, in as much as they did have a presence in Africa, all of a sudden they're just quick to spread to like 80 something plus countries. Why didn't it happen earlier? You know what I mean? It's for me. It doesn't quite, like I said. These are all speculations, but it's based on factual data that actually does exist. You know what I mean? So I think Spotify coming here is a good and a bad thing, depending on the perspective from which you dissect.
I mean, from a
the
consumer's
issue.
perspective, it's
Absolutely.
great news because
Yeah, it is. It is.
For artists, for instance, I mean, the metrics and the metrics and the analytics, on the back end could facilitate how certain spending can be allocated, especially in this part of the world where you do not have proper record label structures, where you'd have usually typical managerial outfits performing certain duties as a traditional label would. You know what I mean? So if I am an independent artist, or I work with independent musicians and artists, and for instance, we want to tour Africa, that data can show me where in Africa would be worth pumping my money. So I am not just going at a moving target, so to speak.
Yeah.
It can be more localized, and you can get the best bang for your buck. But there are other measurement tools that can provide that data. So in as much as it's beneficial, if you look at the core business, which is distribution, sharing music, how do the creators or the artists benefit? For now, it's a no for me. For my pocket as a consumer, as a regular listener, yes. But you need a balance of sorts, because if creators do not have ample incentives to keep creating, then it's an exercise in futility. There's a joke I tell people all the time. I say the small pockets in our jeans are meant for streaming revenue. It's a dark joke. Usually people wouldn't laugh at it, but I'm actually quite surprised you guys did. But
because we get it.
that's just something worth thinking about. It's all I'm saying. But it's good times. I don't have to pay for a VPN, to use the service.
True.
And all that.
Seven, let me shoot this at you. For a country where we've not really, for the most part, enjoyed making money from our music. For instance, people only make money from, one, the concerts they play, two, the music videos they put on YouTube. That's if they actually do get any reasonable views. And then three, if they get signed on as a brand ambassador or some placement on an ad or anything. And this is now an opportunity for them to get coins to fit a small pocket. Isn't that a start, would you say?
Well, if there's an artist who has been waiting for Spotify to come to Africa to actually get their stuff on there, then you have very lazy artists. Because come on, there are ways to go around this like years ago, So if you waited for them to get to Africa, then yeah, you probably are a lazy artist. But yeah, it's a start. But are they ready? That's a question. Because
the artists.
Yeah, are they artists? Because do you know, like, there's actually a way to mix your songs for Spotify,
Right.
for Apple Music, for So they don't know these things, because most of these boys do it in your own. They don't have
In their
good
bedrooms.
mixes at all. Same way, was it the Channel O's and the other
MTVs and
and yeah, a few years ago when they came, they wanted content, and our boys just didn't have quality videos. So I remember seeing your video on Trace TV, like, how you doing? No, I just submitted and it was good enough, and they played it. So I'm not really sure if they're going to be strict on quality, etc. But are they ready? They might not even make it, to these platforms. But like we were saying earlier, it is a start, and there's so much they can gain from it. Although they probably not fully gain what they're supposed to in terms of like money coming in. but at least data and analytics and a few other things that they can actually use. That is, if they'll use it, can actually help them in advertising, digital marketing, and some other types of advertising. So, yeah, I just hope the smart ones take advantage of whatever they can, because, of course, any business does not run to benefit
Yeah.
somebody else. The business at the end of the day will benefit Spotify, but they have to make sure they make some money off it. Yeah.
Now they did mention that when Kofi was talking, he spoke about our industry not being built well enough to facilitate the royalty distribution because we don't have proper labels, we don't have a proper institution basically to handle this. And they did mention that they'll be organizing training to basically empower the artists to know how the business should be run so they can push for a stable, should I say, infrastructure, musical infrastructure in Ghana, or the creative arts infrastructure. So it would benefit them when it comes to royalty distribution. Kofi, do you think that something like this would really help our artists to push for this?
Um,
Yeah, that
Well.
pause.
well, it's a start.
Mm.
Okay. We need to understand that we can't leapfrog to catch up with the rest of the world and neglect trying to do
The basics.
neglect making sure that we can't forego the deep work that needs to be done. You know what I mean? If I do have the opportunity to buy a Ferrari because I love cars and I live in a forest without proper roads, it would be stupid to use the car. It won't quite work out properly. You know what I mean? So it's dedication is important, but we also need to adapt certain things to our climate as well. You understand? I know this discussion is all about digital distribution, but if you go to Accra Central today, you would see people selling DVD players and CD players. You and I do not use DVD and CD players, but it means they are feeding a market. You understand? So obviously, it's going to make sense to a certain demographic. I don't know if that's going to cross over to some of the people who are yet to like fully embrace the digital space, i.e., streaming. But I guess time will tell. You know what I mean?
Time will definitely tell. If you're listening to us, this is Joy Geek Squad. We're talking about Spotify's entry into Ghana and its impact on our music industry. If you want to send us a WhatsApp message, it's 055 1111 997, 055 11 11 997, or 055 quadruple 1997. Whichever way you can get it, just send us a WhatsApp message. And in a few moments, we'll open up the phone line so you guys can call in and tell us, is it good news for you? Are you a creator or are you a consumer? And is it good news for you? Are you happy or are you not happy? And if whichever side you choose, your reason, I'd like to know. So send us a WhatsApp message and we will read it. Now, another thing. This is another opportunity for brands, guys, to reach an audience. I remember when YouTube began and YouTube said, oh, now we have a youtube.com Ghana. And so, people who consume Ghana content we're going to have partners in Ghana, and people would watch videos and then there'll be adverts. And now YouTube has blown up and we are seeing even local ads. Yeah, there's that one that every time after your video finishes playing, it comes up. If you are trying to get into this thing, you are doing it wrong. I hate that ad. You know that one. Or
The
that,
Nigerian guy, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Tell you if you're trying to get
Oh
into a
my
certain
goodness.
country, you're doing it
I
wrong.
thought I
Or
was
if
the
you're
only one who
training-
hated it.
I think
Yeah.
it talks about forest, right?
So,
Yeah.
Forest trading.
So I'm
okay.
pretty much the exception here because the one ad that gets on my nerves, I've
Is
never
that-
seen a Nigerian one, is an entire music clip, 4 minutes long.
Well,
The
at least you
Bolt-
can skip
Bolt
it
is
after
also
5.
very aggressive. When it was
Yeah,
aggressive.
all the
When it came.
ride-hailing
Yango,
services are very aggressive, especially that one.
Yeah, Yango. Yango.
Yeah, but if it's a product or a service, I can understand that. Like, you're doing a bit much, but I understand it because working
But
in a
it
corporate
works. It
environment,
gets
it
in your
works.
face.
It gets in your face. But I do not want to see your random music clip.
Well, they paid
well,
for it, so
yeah.
please open your eyes and look
And
at
you're
it.
enjoying the platform for free.
Go and get your money. Go and get your money back. I don't want it.
So go pay for YouTube Red, so you don't have to endure that. Now that brings me to the reason why I brought this up. We've established that a lot of Ghanaians may not pay for the premium subscription. That means that they're going to listen to Spotify with ads. Now, as a brand, do you guys project that it would have an impact? Like brands would take advantage of this opportunity to put their ads on this platform while people are listening. There's opportunity to create branded playlists. So let's say a certain brand could create a playlist for people who are going working out, because they're probably selling an energy drink. I'm selling you this idea. If you're listening, can't pay me.
You see,
Do you see
all it takes is one brand doing it,
it
and
working?
then it working, and then the floodgates will open. Recently there was this. It's even still going on. This trend on Twitter. What is it called? The one that looks back at
Oh,
what
you
things.
should have been there.
Yeah,
it
you should have been there.
Mm.
Now even the banks are doing it. Even banks that were not
There.
some yeah. Now even the banks that some banks. One bank, I don't remember which bank it
I think
was.
it was starts with an Access.
Yeah, Access Bank come out with that.
Yeah.
You should have been there. And they're showing the old
CD
CD
notes.
notes and CD coins we had. But you weren't there. So what are you talking
yeah, but you should
about?
have been there.
Right.
Even I was there and I knew that you didn't. So what are you talking about? But that's the thing. Like once it kicks off, the brands that will usually pay attention, everybody will just fall straight in. So
Like,
all you need is one energy drink run. Again, me and Spiky's idea. Hit us up.
hey,
I
You
think
know us on Twitter. You
think
know us on Instagram.
absolutely. I think it's going to pick up
mm,
because marketing today has evolved.
right.
Okay, it's very much centered around culture, and the easiest way to drive culture is music. You know what I mean? So I mean, brands that are tech savvy or in tune with the times naturally would like to take whatever opportunity they possibly have to hop on any opportunity that can give them as much reach. Especially if that platform has access to their target audience.
And do we have any WhatsApp messages? Okay, so I'm going to open the phone lines, and I want you guys to call and answer this question. Would you rather download or you'll stream? The number to call is 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. Would you download the music with the or you will stream from Spotify and Apple Music and the likes? Let us know if you call. I'm going to ask you guys. Michael, you first. Would you download or you'll stream?
You see, I'm going to give an answer, and you have to protect me when these Actually, you're a producer. You probably jump on me as well. I always download. I always prefer download to streaming. Always.
See,
Illegal?
No.
do you buy
Because-
and download?
Yes. I buy and download like as a responsible citizen of the
Why
world.
don't I believe
who
you?
Look, shut your mouth. I buy and download as a responsible citizen of the world who cares about his fellow man, the artist that is spending umpteen hours in that hot
Hold on,
silent
that thought.
studio.
We've got a call on the line. Hello. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
This is Philo calling from Ibri.
Right. So first off, would you download or you'll stream?
Hey, where's he coming from?
Ibri.
Oh, okay.
I've been streaming for a long time now, like
Great.
about 4 years. So I guess it's streaming for me. I'm happy Spotify is in the market now.
You're
So,
happy that Spotify is in the market.
But yeah, we can give our VPNs a rest now.
Yeah, that's true.
Bad man.
And also, what about Spotify drove you to it?
Sorry?
What about Spotify drove you to it? Why did you choose Spotify?
Like they said, I think it's the list. The like spot on. That's most of the work really. And that's the music, I guess. And I don't know about the editorial list. I just listen to the daily, so
Right.
I'm gonna leave it there.
So would you pay for premium to ensure that your favorite artist gets some revenue?
I wouldn't mind, but from a business standpoint, I think I'll go for the hear my I would like to put some ads on there now.
Okay, so you'd like to put some ads on there.
Yeah,
That's interesting. You have your own business you're running?
yeah, a couple.
Great, great, great. It's good to know. Thank you very much for calling.
Hello.
We've got another call on the line. Hello?
Hey, Kobby.
Hi, good evening, and your name where you're calling from?
Good evening. I'm Nana Kwesi.
Nana Kwesi, would you
sir.
download or you'll stream?
Me.
You'll stream.
Me. Stream. For
Great.
the way.
Hey, for the way.
Kobby. Do you
Yes,
know
boss.
something? Look, data is very expensive in this country. And me, my data is budgeted for the month. so oh, I'm serious.
Okay.
Because, see, the truth is, I don't earn much. And data is expensive. So I can't be using data to be streaming.
Oh.
No. So I download.
But do you
And
watch
even if
YouTube?
I'll stream, I stream on YouTube sometimes. Even if I'll do that, it's midnight bundle. Then I'll be up. Then I'll be streaming.
Alright.
So, media.
So who's your favorite artist?
Who's my favorite artist?
Yeah.
Oh,
In
I
Ghana?
don't have a favorite. I have favorites.
Okay, so give me one.
In Ghana.
In Ghana.
One.
Yes.
Let's say
Bum,
Aquaba.
bum, bum.
Sorry?
Aquaba.
Aquaba, right. So don't you think streaming Aquaba's music would make Aquaba money?
Now, you see, I don't disagree with the whole streaming thing,
Right.
and it's how they make ends meet from the work. It's like they invest in it, and that's one way they make their ends meet. You understand?
Yeah.
But now the question we don't ask is, am I sacrificing me to what I'll eat to give them their money?
I understand.
Do you get what I'm coming from? So it's not like I don't want to stream on. So let's say data was moderate. It's not expensive in this country. Why not? I will buy it and stream. But here's the case. Even the monthly one that me here, supi krano. That one crash too. It get finished before sometimes the month. So I don't do anything because I'm very careful. So you're crying, sir.
Right.
You understand?
Well, you see, in Africa, Ghana is one of the countries with the lowest cost of data.
Well, but it's expensive anyway. Look at our cost of living.
True.
How many of us can even make three square meals a day? How many of us? Kobby, me today the whole day since morning I've not eaten. It's just this evening I ate one kinky. And you say I should go and buy the data I'm using for the month. I should go and use the screen. Yeah, I'm streaming.
Much for calling. Unfortunately, I ran out of time. It was great talking to you. I'm going to hand over to Ernest for the news. My name is Kobby Spiky Nkrumah. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for listening. I will catch you guys next week. Until then, #Joy Geek Squad. Let's continue the conversation.